Good morning. Welcome to the Dark Moon Mysteries podcast. I'm here with Amanda. Amanda is in Spain somewhere,
Mallorca. Yeah.
Mallorca. And yes, and we're going to talk to Amanda today. So settle down, enjoy the conversation. Okay, Amanda, it's all over to you. What are you up to today?
Well, today I've got this potty on, and I'm also doing a certification in shadow work, the advanced prac. So I've got a couple of those calls today and a client call.
Okay, and
Yes. Sure.
who's your client? What sort of things do you do for your clients?
Sure. I'm a life and wellness coach. I help women reconnect with themselves and discover their purpose again. I'm more driven in the purpose sense of things. In terms of how that all got started, I used to be in the super yacht industry. So I used to work as a deckhand and oh,
Super yachts.
yeah. So the white boats. And I did that for the past 3 years. So I traveled a lot of the Mediterranean, which was unreal and a lot of fun. But I always had this side of me that would go to Bali when I wasn't on the boats, do my yoga teacher training, meditation course, and the spiritual world sort of like pulled me in more and more. And the more and more pulled me in, the more and more I questioned, why am I just cleaning a rich person's boat? I want to do something more meaningful with my life. Yeah, and it took me till last year until I was in Mallorca again on a holiday, and I got a job with my boyfriend on a boat that was cruising French Polynesia, and it was amazing. On paper, it was really unreal. But I still thought to myself, when will I start doing something fulfilling again? And then we rented a motorcycle and we were hit by a car. And it was a pretty bad crash. We were going 70 and the car just didn't stop at the stop sign. So ended up going to hospital and I was in there for a month. I had shattered my pelvis, my lower back, my inner thigh, and I broke 2 ribs. So it was pretty like beat up. And it wasn't until in hospital that I thought to myself, if not now, then when? And it sort of became my big wake up call. And I thought, life's too short to not do what you're passionate about and what you enjoy. And so then I decided to do a life coaching certification with Sahara Rose. I don't know if you know her from the
I've
Higher
heard.
Self Institute. Yeah. She also has a potty as well. And since then, I've launched the business a couple months ago, and it's been super fulfilling. It's been an emotional roller coaster, as you know, as an entrepreneur. But I wouldn't have it any other way.
And what's it called?
It's called Sea Change Coaching.
Sea change.
Get
Ah,
it?
so you
Yeah.
like my weaves of waves.
Yeah, similar. Yeah.
So
I thought
yes,
it
we take
combined
the
the
water links.
yeah.
The water links to the sea. Yes.
I think it definitely combines like my super yacht side of self and also my personal side of self with just in the love of the ocean.
Right. And you were born in Australia,
No, I was born in Malaysia.
Malaysia. Okay.
Yeah. So my dad is Chinese and my mom is from Switzerland, but they had me in Malaysia and I grew up there until I was 11 and then moved to Australia and yeah, sort of grew up there. So I've got a bit of a mix of an accent. You could call me a mutt.
Yes. It's okay. I spent like 10 years in South Africa. So a lot of people will say to me, "Oh, are you Australian?" And I'm like, "No, never been." But
Hmm.
the South African is still there, They're just 10
Really?
years. Yes.
Yeah.
But
Where were
yeah,
you? Cape Town?
my father, my mum and dad moved out there just after he retired. So he did 30 years out there, and they came home last year, home as into England. Um, and they had a farm up in KwaZulu-Natal, and then they moved down to wilderness, sort of on the Cape. And I spent 10 years down there on the Cape. My son was born there and sort of thing. So yeah, we ran out of money fast there. We couldn't get a job. Yeah, you don't get employment there, but so coming home to England was a great thing. But so where is home? Where are your roots?
That's a good question. I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've, contemplated the past couple years, especially being sort of a nomad and having that nomadic lifestyle of, because I would basically work 6 months of the year and we travel most of the Mediterranean. And then for the other six half, I'd spend a lot of time in Asia, and then sometime in Australia to drop my bags and then go again. So I've been toying with the idea for a while. This has been the longest time I've stayed somewhere in Mallorca. But my conclusion is that home is not necessarily a place, but who you're with.
Yes. Yes. I too have the nomadic life, and I don't know how to settle. I tried.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
But
You
so I
get sort of
understand that
torn.
one.
Hmm.
Yes. You get this. I don't know how people can go to work today, the same route to work every day for 40 years or something like that. I have problems. I mean, I like the work that moves around. That would be nice. But yes, the monotony of it all. We have to move every 2 weeks on the narrow boats. So we just have to move. Basically, it's got to be maybe a mile. Um, and they come around and check that you're moving. It's part of your license.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so right the way through the year, you're meant to move every 2 weeks. In the winter, they're a little bit lax, but it's
Yeah.
still it's part of the contract that you have with the canals people.
How do you go in
Um,
wintertime on the boats?
yeah, it's makes everything very slippery, and the yeah. Hello, puppy. He wants to be in it. My flower pot boy. He's not feeling very well. Ah,
Oh,
settle
shame.
down. But yes, he's been on the boats most of his life, so it's like the winter time is a tough one. Yes, absolutely. We have a lovely fire, and it keeps everything nice and warm. But you wake up in the morning and there's ice on the inside of the window. That's the sort of level. You get used to it.
Oh,
I'm tougher than I
gosh.
thought.
I can only imagine. Yeah, it sort of reminds me of when I'm back in Australia, my family have a yurt. Do you know what that is?
Yes, I do. I've slept in a yurt. Yes,
Yeah, yeah. So it's sort of like a Mongolian tent.
yes.
But it's quite nice, we have a bathtub in it and a kitchen and the mezzanine with the bed on top. So, it's renovated nicely. But when I come back home to Victoria in Australia, near Melbourne, it is super icy as well. And I remember waking up in the morning and you can see my breath and it's just so cold. And sometimes it's colder inside than it is outside. Yes.
So I grew up in Greece and Jordan and Palestine. So my parents were both RAF. So I traveled quite a lot. I changed schools quite a lot. Nomadic life is what I was bred to. I can't settle. My parents actually have settled, but they do a lot of holidays, I think. So there's that sort of. But my younger brother is still traveling with his small family, and it's basically we're a family of nomads, and yeah, the boats suit my lifestyle, but the super yachts sound amazing. I mean, beautiful, 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 but then you're cleaning toilets and scrubbing floors.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you have to learn how to sort of be part of the crew? What was the training for that?
Yeah, so you basically have to go through some certifications to get qualified to work on the boats. They cost a couple of $1,000s. A lot of it's just kind of safety stuff and what to do in a fire and what to do if there's pirates or stuff like that.
Oh,
But once you
okay.
get through that, then everything you learn is on board. And getting on board a super yacht is also a challenge in itself. I was lucky enough that a captain reached out to me. I just booked a one-way ticket to France, and the whole concept of it is you have to go onto the docks and you walk the docks and you have to hand out your resume to people and you have to sell yourself. That's how you're supposed to get into the industry. Otherwise, if you know someone, then that's the only other way. And a lot of people don't take, they call them greenies, people who haven't worked on a yacht before. They don't take greenies, they only take people with experience. So there's this catch-22 of you can't get in because you don't have experience, but no one's giving you a chance,
No.
to get
Sounds
experience.
familiar. Yeah.
And anyways, like I mentioned, my journey was sort of really fortunate because I landed in France, and then a couple of days later, a captain reached out to me, had the interview, and that was my first boat. And I had a very positive experience on board. My captain was amazing, and so were my crew. And my owners were really, really awesome as well, and so down to earth. They didn't seem like billionaires, but they were very, very grounded and super nice. And I stayed with them for a couple of years, and then I moved on to a different boat in Cannes, in France. I was there for the film festival, and yes, it was a charter boat, so people would just rent the boat out each week. And the charter boats are very different from the boats that are privately owned because you never know who you're going to get, what kind of people they are, and what the experience is going to be. So that was very interesting, let's just say that. And also getting used to different crew. I'm not going to lie, like it was really very different. They were just very different people from me, and being in such close quarters, having to be around them all the time plays a big effect on you and your mental health. And I think the biggest thing that I don't miss in being in the super yacht industry is my health, mental and physical. That sort of goes out the window when you're slaving away and cleaning the boat all day. So I'm so grateful to be able to mend that the past almost a year now, and get it to a place that I'm feeling really good.
Yeah, that sounds good. I know what you mean by I was an air stewardess when I was 19. So I did 5 years, and I would not go back ever. If never, 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 never. The 5 years were good, but working with crew in small spaces, charter company flights. So I did the 18 to 30 club to Ibiza. So if you've ever met British tourists abroad, try imagine being closed up in a small space with them for about 4 or 5 hours. And I was
I
so
can't
sweet and
imagine.
naive, and I would do all of the bits and pieces. Yeah, I was way too sweet and innocent, but I wasn't when I finished. It was like, you will sit down and shut up, or I'll tell customs you're smuggling drugs.
Goodness,
And
I'm not gonna lie.
I learned
Every
how to
time I catch a
deal.
flight, yeah, yeah.
I learned how to
Sorry,
deal
go.
with football supporters. I learned how to deal with mums who wouldn't be separated from their handbags, grannies. Oh, they were all very, very hard work, and I don't miss it in the slightest. But I did my
I'm
five
not gonna
years.
lie.
It was
Yeah,
yeah, it was tough, but yes, the charter, you super yachts, you kind of imagine a lot of sort of rich people, but when you're on the charter ones, they're sort of all banging together, and it's like, whoa.
bit of
Yeah,
both. Yeah, you think of the richest people in the world. They all have a yacht.
yeah, yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds about right. At least with being 33,000 feet up, when they have a drink, they usually pass out very quickly. So the
that's a plus.
so if you have a problem passenger, you just give them another drink, and they'll just fall over, and there won't be a problem anymore. But when you're on a boat, you haven't got that. They can probably drink and drink and drink until the sun comes up. It's like,
That's
okay,
usually what happens. Yeah, yeah, that's usually what happens, especially in Ibiza.
yes. So yes, I've been to Mallorca, and I've been to Ibiza, but only the airports. Just there around and back. We used to buy sangria and some cigarettes, and then turn around, come back. This was the 90s.
Unreal. I love that. I must admit, I also feel like when I go catch a flight, I think that the air stewardesses have it hard. And I
Yes.
like compare the pair, and I'm like, I don't think I would like it.
I was very young. It is a mucky business. You get filthy. I mean, it's like you gotta go home and have a shower. It's one of those the sort of things, because you're stuck in this sort of metal tube. But we used to do the long haul to Florida and Jamaica and stuff, and they were
It's kind of fun.
hard. I mean, I was young, but I was still. It was hard on the body. The pressurized cabin, the ups and downs, and the trying to
I
keep
bet.
focus and dealing with rules and regulations, people. But yeah, yeah, it's good. Just good to do. It was my test, and I think I passed it, and I can move on. There isn't much I can't deal with now, which is nice.
That's the thing. Even though it's difficult, it teaches you a lot of resilience, I think.
That's right. Yes. So you had this the motorbike accident, and then suddenly you've changed your life by it. So it's like I didn't quite have that much dramatic, but yes, but I can understand the it's like you feel you're going in one direction, and then suddenly you have a whole U-turn. but you do get ideas that, hang on a minute, this isn't quite the way I'm going. I should be going. And you get that idea up to that point where the bike hit the car hit the bike. And then you know that it's not good. Was your boyfriend all right?
Yes, he broke his arm, but he was there with me in hospital every day. So he was in
Oh,
hospital 3 days, but he came and, helped me out for that period of time. And it was really interesting because we were just started to date. We had just started dating and we had a couple days in person and then we did long distance. And then we had one day together, long distance again for a month. And then we had the motorcycle accident. So we went from like just in the beginning stages of the relationship to like he is emptying my pee bag and helping wheel me around. It just like totally took off the mask and I was forced to be extremely vulnerable. And I must admit, I feel like it created a special, unique bond between us.
yes. So he didn't flinch. So he's a
No,
good man. He's a good
he is
man. He didn't he didn't flinch
definitely.
away. Yeah,
No, you
that's good.
ordealed quite a lot.
And he's with you now still?
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
he's still working on the boats. But
Okay.
yeah, now he's with me a little bit and he'll be heading off tomorrow for another job.
Okay, that's nice. And it's good to have support. I like having my support network.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
definitely, especially when running a business.
Yes. So
Yeah.
what is the challenge what's the biggest challenge of running a new business now? Because you've been doing it 3 months?
Mm-hmm.
Sea change. Sea
Yeah.
change.
Yeah. I'm so curious to bounce some ideas off of you too, because I'd love to know if, they're similar. But for me, the biggest challenge was being okay with being seen. I think that was a big one of being able to put myself out there and be okay to like be authentically myself online because I must admit like my regular Instagram is curated and it is my highlight reel. And if you were to just look on my page for the past 5 years, you would think, damn, this girl is living the dream. But in that, there are a lot of downs and I never shared that side of myself. So on Sea Change, my new Instagram that I've opened up, I'm being a lot more real, authentic, and it's scary sometimes, but it feels good. It feels like an expression of me, and it actually feels like who I am. And I'm proud of the content I've been producing. And I must admit that the biggest challenge was also not getting overwhelmed with the different avenues you can go down and sort of staying in your lane and staying in something that you want to continue to produce consistently. And for me, I picked Instagram. But I don't know about you in terms of the biggest challenge. How has that gone for you and what sort of path was that?
I find it very difficult to stay focused because go on. Staying focused on all the technology. You do one thing. I've just finished doing because I don't get any sales. That's my biggest challenge is that I put all of this out there and I've gone down the marketing routes and I'm still not getting sales. So it's kind of, yeah, the energetics is tough to keep pushing. How long? I've done it for 5 months now. So that is for me a challenge and it's personalized sort of. I had to work out why I'm doing this. And it hits a point where you're just going to do it anyway, whether you get sales or not. I enjoy the creativity. So that, yes, I'm finding marketing and sales. I don't mind being pushy. I've done an hour, getting over being seen. I started TikTok because TikTok was excruciating. It was like fingers down a blackboard.
Hmm.
And I'm now doing our live streams, walking along while I'm walking the dog and I'm talking about all kinds of stuff and people are responding and it it's like a trial by fire. Like you're a hospital, like your bike accident, like the airlines. Um, you just get up there and you make an idiot of yourself and then you just move on. I do overthink the idiot of yourself. I'm on the neurospicy spectrum. So I don't like making an idiot of myself. So I'm actually going out of my way now to try and bring my stuff together so that I'm not making an idiot of myself. Um, but I find that TikTok is a good way of getting over, just do it. And I've just finished a course. I have been trying to do an online course now for about 5, 6 years since COVID.
Mm.
And I couldn't get it together and I couldn't weave the package together. And I'm just at about guided hypnosis. I've been a hypnotherapist for the last 10 years. It's NLP. My ex-husband did NLP and I've done that with him. So I'm very good at guided meditations. So I thought, right, let's simple. I wanted to do yoni eggs as but I've kept, everybody tells me, no, that's too adult theme. You're gonna get into what I'm tantra trained as well as shamanism and all of that stuff. But that yoni eggs was not a good course to pick to do. So okay, so we've gone into the basics.
I
If you
love that.
don't
Is
know
the
what a
first
yoni
time
egg,
I've heard it. This is the first time I've heard it, and I love it.
if you don't know what a yoni egg is, go look it up because I'm not explaining. But there we go. There was so what I've done is I've done a guided meditation on no, guided hypnosis. So it's guided self-hypnosis. So that's my first course. So I've had to put together 5 videos, which was tough. And I've used this software, 4 workbooks and 4 guided hypnosis sessions. So how to go to depth and induction, will you use I've used a guided hypnosis to how to learn that. So you kind of push the learning in. So you watch the video, you read the workbook, and then you have a guided induction to take it in deeper so that you will know it, so it's in your subconscious mind. This is my first course, so it's been a hard slog to put it all together, because I've not done it before, but I've made templates of it all now, so I'm going to be able to do it again and again and again. So yes, that's been a challenge to bring it all together. And yes, I also need encouragement. So I use the AI and the Grok. Grok can tell me what marketing things, for example, if I do live stream guided hypnosis sessions, put people in hypnosis, what's the legal ramifications? What's the ethical and moral ramifications? I have to have a disclaimer that if you're feeling dizzy, back off. So I would like to do live stream hypnosis sessions. And it's given me an idea of what topics that I should do, because it can analyze the market a lot better than I can.
Great.
So
Yeah, growth like that.
looking at Grok is good for that because it has access to the internet and it has access to X. I've gone through each AI and worked out where their strengths and weaknesses is, and where it's a tool. And I can't get emotional about a tool. And a lot of people are getting highly emotional about these things. And it's like, but the AI is a good, very, very good tool, because it will I will write something and I said, okay, I need it in this language. I need it in marketing language, because I don't speak marketing. I don't speak sales, but ChatGPT does. And it puts it in a friendly style, and I can rearrange it very easily. So that for ChatGPT, marketing is kind of what I use it for. And then for things like workbooks and exercises, I will put all my notes into Claude AI, and it's really good at putting together. I said, keep the humorous tone, keep my jokes in it. Because if you're learning something, you kind of, if NLP, it's sort of pattern interruptus. If you have a joke or something that speaking monotonously in a lesson, when you had a teacher that can spin a joke off and you're laughing for a minute and then you're back in, it gives you that, it interrupts the flow. And in that interruption, the information goes in. So I think I put as much as I can into the authenticity. I won't let it rewrite it for me, because that, again, there is boundaries here, because I won't let it create something without me. I'm not going to say, just create this for me. No, I'll do all the notes, all the work for it, throw it in there. And I've written several books over the years. And yeah, I've self-published quite 3 books, and the grammar and the spelling was awful, and I couldn't find anyone to edit it for me, and I didn't have any money to edit it for me. So um, you stick it in Claude, you stick a book into Claude, and it will correct all the spelling mistakes, keeping it in its original form. And it's like, oh wow, where was this 10 years ago? This is an amazing tool. But I think it's also a double knife sword. I could say, ah, to hell with it, just create the book for me. And that's not real. That's not right. So I have to keep ethics and morality top of the list here, and making sure that it is my stuff, not ChatGPT stuff. And they do push. They push and oh, let me do it for you. And it's like, no. And I can see how keep the ethics there. It's quite important. As a counselor, I'm just finished level 3 counseling, and one of the things there is the ethics that you have between client and coach. Because I wrote a whole bunch of boundaries, like anything we say here is mostly confidential, but if you say something that may harm someone else or harm yourself, I may need to sort of share that with other people. Things like that is not mentioned in the coaching industry, and I think it should be. So I try and teach ethics to healers and coaches, just sort of to give a structure, sort of thing that 2 people are coming together, and this is the boundaries, and these are the structures that we work in. Um, but I've only done this offline. I haven't had clients online yet. That would be something I'd have to aspire to. That comes under my challenge.
Yeah,
But
I hear
yeah,
you.
it's so you help women go through their life's purpose. So how have you found, is this your life's purpose?
Yeah. Well, when I did my certification, it was focused on life purpose coaching. It's actually called Dharma coaching.
Dharma coaching, yes.
Yes. And I've brought it in a more, I guess, relatable way, and I've just made it life and wellness coach in terms of my marketing and whatnot. And in terms of the framework of what I use is I use what we learned in the Dharma Coaching Institute where I did my certification. And it sort of brings together a lot of different aspects, but it's very somatic. It's very in the body. And I truly believe that your intuition always knows what sort of direction and purpose you should go down or you could go down. But because of the noise of the outside world, we sort of dim that noise and we learn not to listen to it. And so a lot of my work is connecting people back to themselves through guided meditations as well as listening to your intuition, figuring out what kind of intuition comes to you, whether it's clairvoyant or clairsentient. And from there, once we sort of establish that, also exploring what sort of belief systems that we have adopted from when we were younger to now that are still sort of holding us back. Then we sort of flow through what sort of things excite us, what sort of our archetype is in terms of we have like a quiz that we do and we figure out what sort of your archetype is. It could be a teacher, a nurturer, a activist, just to name a few. And we sort of combine that in a table alongside the experiences you've been through, your superpower. And all together, if you see that on a piece of paper, you sort of see a blueprint, a direction, a way forward. Because sometimes we can think that purpose is a job title, but it's not. It's an essence of who you are, and it flows through you in how you carry yourself and what you do. And it's how you do what you do. So that's sort of my style of coaching. It's very somatic in the body, and I'm sure you can relate with your hypnosis as well. And I'd love to know, like, do you feel like you always had an intuition, a ping of a direction of a life that you should be going down?
Um, when I was a kid, I could see auras, see energy fields around people, and yeah, I probably needed glasses for many years of my growing up. And they only when I was about 15 that they finally found that I was very, very short sighted. And so I feel that it was an adaptation. I had to adapt to the fact that I couldn't see very clearly. Everything was blurry, you know. Um, and they put glasses on me, and I suddenly realized that I have two ways of seeing. I take my glasses off, and I can see a lot differently from everybody else. And it took me a while to work out that it was different. I thought everyone sees this way.
Yeah, I bet.
And it
Yeah.
was a total natural thing for me to see happy trails behind people and colors swirling round. And if you really focus, you can see pictures coming into their energy field. And when I started reading about occult things and sort of Taurus fields and energy fields, and it's like, yeah, that's normal, doesn't everybody see that? So, did I have a purpose? I'm still looking for the reason, if you like. Um, one of the things I do naturally is just read tarot and crystal ball. That's a piece of cake for me. It's like, right, what do you want to know? Fine, here, have the information. Da 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 da. And people go, "Oh my God, how did you know that?" And I go, "I don't know, and I don't want to think about it." Yeah. So if I overthink these things, it's not good. But I read people. I read people very well, too well. I will often wear a hat with a brow down because I don't want to see. When I go out, I just don't want to see. It's too intrusive. Um, People get
Don't
cross
think
with
about it
me.
like that.
Yeah, people get cross with me if I look too deeply uninvited. And that's why an awful lot of my stuff now is because when I see pretty much everything. It's like going through someone's underwear drawer, pretty all their
Oh,
medicine cabinet.
I'm so curious. I really want you to see me now.
Yeah, it's a thing. But yeah, I see people how they are authentically real, and a lot of people get angry at you, and they feel that you've looked. It's inappropriate. I'm English. It's inappropriate behavior. Um, but yes, so growing up, it was like, can you please be normal? So yeah, the purpose thing is something I'm actually very curious of because I've never felt that I've used this to my absolute ability. What's it for? I would be quite interested to know what the purpose is. What my purpose. I think maybe I've had lots of purposes. You have uh, throughout the life. I don't know. I've had three children. They're growing up, so that's fine. I'm on a boat. I have a partner. Um, I'm fairly happy and content on my own. I was reading something the other day how people can't stand being on their own, and it's like they have a radio going at all times. And I'm like, wow, I will go for a walk up and down the towpath, sit in a forest, take the dog for a walk, and I'm happy. I'm the happiest. Um, but I have this need for community and social people, so I like doing that. But I've got online. Online works well. But yeah,
Yeah.
a purpose. No, I can honestly say I don't know my own purpose. I don't know what I'm here for.
Big statement, and you alongside so many people. And I would also continue down the road to say I don't know either, because depending on the stages of your life, it's ever growing and ever changing. Like you mentioned, you said your purpose has evolved, and it always will, as you do. But from our conversations so far, I've heard you go from the craziest depths to flight attendant to yoni eggs to tarot tantra practitioner to hypnosis to counselor. And if you look at that as a whole, that is your purpose. And it's not necessarily the one profession or the thing that you do, but it's the red thread that combines it all together. And at the end of the day, a lot of our purpose is to be of service to others. And that in a nutshell is what it is. And I'm sure there's people out there who are afraid to speak their mind about tantra, about yoni eggs, about all that stuff. But maybe you're the voice that brings it all together. And, you
Well, it
know,
would be nice to. I put myself out there and I say this is what I do. And apart from the tarot and crystal ball, tarot people, yeah, it's a shallow thing. It's like they want to know their career, they want to know a relationship. Is he coming back? You get that sort of level of tarot. If I go too deep, people run to the winds, right? Because they're scared. And it's like your shadow work. I'm very interested in what you do as your shadow work because I've done the psychology of shadow work, the Carl Jung stuff. And I went down an occult practice, which took me into my own depths, and didn't return me the same. And I honestly can say that going down, I don't know if you know of the Clippereth. I might pronounce that differently. The Kabbalah is kind of like the Jewish tree of life, and the other side of it. So you're going down the tree of shadow to the tree of death, and it's a quite an extreme process because you face everything that is base inside you. So I'm very interested to hear what you're doing in the advanced shadow work. Is that a wild? Is that one of the wild success sort of stories?
It is, yeah, yeah, another branch off of them. Well, it was one of those courses because I don't suppose you saw they also do a human design one, which I did the basic one that was for free. And yeah, when I did the shadow work stuff, I just felt like everything in the course and everything that we were learning, it felt like he was just speaking to me, and it hit me. It really hit me and it touched me. And I felt like it would be, excuse me, a game changer in terms of how I help my clients. So I've just started. This is week 2. So we haven't gone into that much depth yet, but I felt like what moved me initially was an exercise where we tuned back into the body, took deep breaths, and sort of thought about a situation that was like a 8, 7 up to an 8 in terms of difficulty of our lives right now. So maybe, do you have something that's maybe like a 7 or 8 in terms of difficulty, in terms of like, I have this thing I have to do, or that's always on my mind, that's draining my energy?
I'm pretty good at having the sort of the 10 to 15s.
Let's go.
Now I would say it's finding my poverty consciousness. I've always never had enough money, and it's now I'm not that sad with it. I have a richness of other things in my life, but yes, it's getting. We've got an economic crisis going on in the UK right now. I've used to have a job. I used to sort of post office and things like that. So basically, I've been looking for a job, and it annoys me. And I'm trying to put this business up online, and it annoys me that I keep falling into this poverty consciousness. And I've traced it back to my parents and your whole idea of self-worth. I'm like the Catholic schoolgirls, when they're brought up really strictly. Well, and then they rebel. Well, I rebel by not earning money. I refuse to take my worth, my sense of self-worth um, from basically from how much I earn. Because in England, we have a class system here, and the first question people ask is, well, what do you do for a living? And I refuse all that. I'm not getting into that. I rebel the other way. So I'm unemployed. And I recognize that it's not healthy. And it's one area of my life that I've never mastered. I've never kept a job very long. Um, and yeah, it's annoying. So poverty consciousness, I will admit to it. And I would say that that is a block that I don't know how to get through. So I do understand it's my vibe. My vibe is a little intense for some people. My presence is enough and all of that. Um, and yes, it's not something I can shift in. And the older I get, the more I don't care. So, but I would like to get over the poverty consciousness. I would like to earn some money.
Hmm.
Just not a lot, just a little.
Um, so you said that when you were younger, your mom sort of had wealth consciousness. And when you say wealth consciousness, what do you mean by that?
Status.
Yeah,
Um,
cool.
she
Yeah.
she she was married to an officer. She saw status in people, and
Yeah.
she's changed over the years. It's not she grew out of it. I've watched her grow up quite a bit with it, but the status of people, where they live, how they live, what car they've got, what schools do they go to. I went to a private school for a little while. Yeah, so yeah, it's class aware. She's very much aware of, where she was. We were middle class, and they we owned our own home, and she was all proud of all that stuff. I guess I carry over that programming, and that's kind of an issue.
Yeah, so you sort of saw it, and you, because you had that gift of your sight, you saw through all the status, and as a result, you wanted to go against it. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
so what's the
I did rebel about it. I lived in a van. I'm quite happy sort of barefoot, sort of around in a yurt. I've been a traveler. Yeah, this the boating is one up. But yeah, I kind of push against status. The status shouldn't in I'm using shouldn't and couldn't. Shouldn't words. Um, Status shouldn't be if you can keep a steady job down and how much you bring in and what your car is. I don't believe that. It seems very shallow, and I rebel against the whole capitalistic society. I'm not a socialist by any chance, but capitalism gets your worth from what you can earn, and that's fundamentally wrong. I don't know
and,
why. I can't back it up.
and if you don't want to be wealth consciousness, but you also don't want to be poor consciousness, what do you want to be?
I want to have a steady income. I want to be able to, without any interference. I will pay tax if I've got it, but that's about it. I would like to be able to be independently steady.
Hmm.
Um, that's the dream. That's the dream that I have. That and I managed as an acupuncturist a couple times. I've had a business that was doing all right, and then we either moved or situation changed or what have you. So I like having a steady flow of clients. It keeps me alive. It keeps me a purpose, and I like them to be paying clients. That would be cool too one day.
Hmm. Yeah, so if you were to give it a name, what sort of consciousness would you give it if it's not wealth or poor?
I think balanced. An income that is balanced. I will give as good as I get. Energy wise, money is the exchange. And I've done a lot of work around that, as in internal work. But yeah, I mean, I don't like scrimping and scrounging and borrowing. And it's horrible.
No one
And I
does,
am
yeah.
ending up that way. And I'm saying that this is stupid. I have to change my attitude. I have to get over this block. So the pain of staying still is greater than the pain of moving forward. So that's why I take the challenge, and I want to move forward. So that's why I push myself. I'm doing a good 6 to 8 hours a day, for 5 6 hours, 5 6 days a week on pushing my Weaves of Waves, my Dark Moon podcast. I'm pushing my business. I'm
Yeah. A great exercise that we have learned in the shadow work course to overcoming a block is sort of as you established where you are right now in terms of the block, just feeling a bit of resistance, feeling hesitation, wanting to get over it. Another question I have for you is how willing are you to like move past the block? Because there
yes,
can be
very
a
willing.
desire for something, but then there cannot be a willingness that matches to going to that desire.
I have the emotional and mental matching. I'm very willing to move past this, but I'm pushing on a daily basis to move past it. And every time I sort of get annoyed or irritated, I come back to it and push further.
Yeah, great. And from there, what does the flip of what you have? So what is someone who has the balanced consciousness, who has wealth and is rich in other areas of their life that's not necessarily status? What are their perceptions of the world? How do they view the world? How do they act? What's the embodiment of that energy?
Well, my partner is pretty much embodies that energy. He's a surveyor. He's in the windows trade. Always had work. He's always had cash in hand. Um, and he pushes himself to go to work every day, and that's a struggle. I watch him struggle with it. I don't mind if I had that struggle of getting up in the morning very early, going to work, because he has the funds and he has the finance to play around with it. And yeah, he kind of embodies a confidence. I'm not sure what it's like, a confidence that he can always support himself. And that is what I aspire to. Like the knowledge that you can all go out there and rebuild the business because you already know how. Um, yeah, I'm the other way around. I am underconfident in that area. So yeah, the flip side of it would be him and what he
Yeah.
can do.
Yeah, so like a confidence that you can always support yourself, um, maybe having a sense of purpose in a sense because he wakes up every day to go to work. Would you say that's sort of the embodiment of what you strive towards?
I aspire to be self-employed. I'm very good at managing my own time, and I love the creative aspects and the multitasking. I can do 6 or 7 tasks at once. Um, I would like the energy back that I'm putting into this. That's quite important because I'm pouring an awful
Yeah,
lot of myself, and I've started the NLP process of reframing it. Once that block's gone, what will it look like? So
yeah.
self-sufficiency and the confidence that I can just go out there and earn it no matter what.
In some sense, like, um, I like to think of sort of these different avenues of our lives in terms of doshas. So having like a vata in terms of air energy, then a fire, a pitta, and then earth energy. And taking an idea or a passion and running through the doshas like that. So first it starts as an idea of something that you want to try, air. And then it goes down to your passion to actually making it happen, taking aligned action. And then it goes down to, your kapha, earth, resting in the success of that and having enough energy to go again. And so I like to think of ideas through a dosha system. And a lot of times we can stay up in the air of like, oh, I can do this, or I can do this, or I can do this, or I can try this, but we never take aligned action, you know? And sometimes we can do something, take aligned action, and we sort of lose the spark, lose the joy out of it, and then it goes back up here again and we try something new. And like, I'm curious to know what have you like picked or decided to go down? What path have you decided to go down, considering all the different avenues that you have in your
Yeah.
life?
Well, I'm a Gemini, and I've done
Yeah.
human design.
Yes.
And what star sign are you?
Yeah,
What's
I'm
your
a
sun?
Leo.
You're a Leo. Okay. Do you know
Yes.
your rising or
Yeah.
your moon?
My moon's in Pisces, and my rising is Virgo.
Virgo. Okay, so we share that. My rising is also in Virgo. So one of the things I have to work with is this is the embodiment. You talked about somatic and body intent. So yes, I don't do it the same way, but I take it within. My consort. This is my consort, that my body is my consort. It is like it's more than a friend or a lover. It's more of a husband or a wife. This is your mate. So I have to be in my body and I have to take care of my body. I have to look after it, but it's also part of the journey. So it's necessary to consult it and to say, hey, is this all right with you? Um, I have all these ideas in my head, but it has to resonate and it has to resonate well with the body.
I was sort of curious to know what sort of is your North Star now? What is your niche? What is the avenue?
My niche, I've the AI is very good for that because I tell it to roast me. Right. It knows all chat GPT. I don't like the sycophant. I don't like how it agrees with you all the time. And I certainly don't. Encouragement is good. I like that. But when it's rude and it roasts me, I'm happier. Um, so I tell it to roast me and it says, right, you're all over the place. You've got an amazing product. But you're all over the place with it. Focus. So I focused it now down to the Dark Moon podcast and mysteries, and Weaves of Waves is like the other stuff. And what else? So The podcast is important. I've got a blog now on Substack. I'm focused on the Dark Moon podcast and Dark Moon Mysteries, the Dark Moon Mystery Schools. And I'm doing courses because I need digital products to sell. I'm trying to focus. I'm trying to narrow it down to what feels passionate. And I love creating ebooks. So I've got ebooks, and I've got to get them all up on a platform that sells. Not sure how to do that yet.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Amazing.
Still learning.
Fingers on a lot of pies, and yeah, it still sounds like maybe there is a bit of, vata in terms of like which idea to persevere,
Yeah,
but because you know that you gotta follow the passion, follow
I
your
do. I
excitement.
get bored. I get bored without lots of different things. I don't want one single line. Now, as I said, I'm a Gemini, so I'm quite happy with two. So we're specializing in twos, but nothing's ever written in stone. So
Yeah,
you have your Instagram? Do you have a website?
yeah, Instagram and website coaching. Yeah, in terms of live streamings, I'm not down that lane yet, but I will get there. But you can definitely keep up to date on my Instagram at coaching, and you'll find
Right.
my latest content on there.
Okay. I'm going to ask you two questions. I did warn you. Tell me, where do you go when you die? What happens
Sure.
after death?
I believe in reincarnation until your soul does reaches its purpose and learns all the lessons that it needs to learn. So I believe we get reincarnated into another lifetime, whether it be an animal or a human being or whatnot, until our soul lives its purpose. What about you?
Okay. I'm not necessarily a purpose thing, but I do know I've lived many times before. I was born with past life memories. I remember being old and dying, and death was wonderful. Death was the most beautiful thing that I'd ever experienced. Birth, on the other hand, was traumatic. So I'm quite happy to face the death and the life and the circle. And the other question I have is source. What is source for you? And I don't mean barbecue. Source, universal, or tomato.
So what is source to me? Source is a connection to a power higher than myself, and it comes in all different forms and shapes depending on who you are. But for me, it's a connection with something higher than myself. In terms of a form, I don't know if it has one. For me, I see it as a bright light, and also people who have passed on who are supporting me in my journey. So that's what I would say.
Okay. And can you describe your connection?
I would say it's pure, it's infinite, and it's always there.
Consistency. So,
Yeah,
and that's cool. That's very beautiful.
your stuff.
Great. Um, I tend to sort of be my own source. Um, Once I had gone down into the darkness, I found the light, and once you go into the light, you find the darkness. Somehow, in between there, the shadow realms, the grey realms, found myself. And I often sort of joke that I am the only God I know, because I don't know your God or your source. And I do believe that everybody is unique. Each connection is unique. From what I see, I've seen some very deep and amazing connections, and I've seen its opposite. But for me, the shadow realms is where I find myself. And that to me is my source, higher self, or what have you. A larger thing is this body. These cells came of the earth. So the earth is my mother. And I will recognize that the earth is the mother of my body. And I'm just here as a sort of a chip on its shoulder. So I like the earth mother and the nature. The body needs its nature, and it needs its connection to uh, the elements. Um, so yeah, this connection. But did your parents give you a belief path?
I grew up Christian, yes, and we went to church, but I always didn't really resonate as you do when you're younger. And I sort of rebelled. And when I was a teenager, I sort of went down more the atheist route. But then it wasn't until I had like this deep calling to do my yoga teacher training. And from there, a huge, like, everything they were teaching us in terms of yoga philosophy and mindfulness just resonated with me and hit me like a ton of bricks. And that's when I knew that it didn't have to be like a religion. It just has to be a belief that I have, and at the end of the day, I believe that it's essentially the same across everyone, but it's just a different sort of label on it, I would say.
Yes. I don't resonate with religions. I don't know. I respect them. I've seen a lot of different types.
Just can't do
But
it.
I do love the old churches. I do love the old buildings. Most of them are made out of pagan stones and stuff. But yeah. No, I
Yeah,
think these questions are good, and I think we should ask them of ourselves because they change.
great
It,
questions. I love it.
it's good question.
Yeah, thanks
Cool.
so much, Kate.
Okay. Is there anything you want to mention at this time?
Well, before we wrap up, I'm super curious to know what you see my energy as, whether it's a color, because I don't really know how it works for you, and I'm curious to know what you see, if you can see something.
Well, when you said you were a Leo, I wasn't surprised. You're
Okay.
a sunshine. You need the heat and the sun. So but that's just the top of the surface. So you present the sun, you present the like bright, bright and shiny. But there is inside there is a lot of the water issues and the sort of emotions. Still waters run deep, I think is the expression. So to go deeper inside you, that's not something you probably want to do. But in other words, you have children that would like to come through to you that would. I'm not sure if you have them already, but there are definitely children that would like to be born through you with your bloodline. And that would be something that should be pretty much rearrange your life totally from top to bottom. That's what I would off the top of my head. But the other ones would be as an empath, you feel stuff that isn't yours, and I would say be careful you don't burn out with that, because there are weaknesses there that you will feel so totally heartbroken when somebody is hurt, and it will just you get overwhelmed by other people's feelings. And I would say you got a little touch of the little vampire. You need to start feeding off the actual exchange rather than the frequency. So if energy is a frequency wave, that frequency wave, it doesn't matter whether it's negative or positive, but you've got to know what it is. The frequency wave that people emit hits you hard without shielding, and it'll knock you off balance. It'll put you in a spin. You'll think it's your emotions. You've got to find out where you start and another person begins. And the best part of that is having children, because they will try and absorb you. They break you down mentally, physically, and emotionally, and you have got to find your own boundaries.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I can only imagine. Thank you, first of all. That's really cool
That's
that
okay.
you're able to pick all of that up. And I would say I resonate with everything you mentioned. I don't have kids right now, but I've always had a longing to have kids. And I also toyed with the idea. I'm like, maybe my purpose is to be a mom and to like raise children. I always had that longing as well, and always been very we call it clucky, but like when I see a baby, like, oh yeah,
Exactly.
baby.
Yes.
And my sister said I don't resonate with that at all. And yeah, I've also have been exploring this realm in terms of like energy and cutting that cord sort of thing to not let it affect me too. So I so resonate with what you said. Thank you.
Well, thank you. No, it's cool. Yeah, I try not to see unless invited, so I thank you for the invite. Yeah, it's my
Yeah,
boundaries
you're
to
so
to
welcome.
wait for the there's a witch or a vampire has to be invited in. So in other words,
That's a good way of
I
putting
don't
it.
do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we've come to the end here.
Thank you so much, Kate, for having me. I really appreciate this chat. It's been so interesting and enlightening to discover about you and your path. And I'm itching for more questions, if I'm honest, to ask you. But yeah, hopefully I'll catch you on the next one.
Catch you on the next one. Take care. Okay, bye from the Dark
Okay.
Moon Mysteries.